Welcome back, everyone, to Genshin's, I guess, oldest, latest. Not latest. That means new. Um, February's Imaginarium Theater. This is very overdue. It is the 28th as the date of recording this, and I low key slacked on this one. I'm not gonna lie. I was like so busy like playing Zenless and playing Honkai that this kind of just like went under the radar for me. But I did get it knocked out yesterday, and I'm doing the voiceover today. So I guess recorded the 27th, voice over the 28th. Yeah, we'll just go with that. And this one wasn't too shabby. I still feel like the one not before this one, the one before the last one was like really like difficult for no reason. Maybe it was like the unit selection. But this one wasn't too bad. I feel like I could have definitely have conserved some units a lot better. And honestly, I think taking Chaska here was probably not like the smartest idea, but I did want another Animo DPS to bring along Scara, so we just had to make do with Chaska. But aside from that, like some of the units I did have built, I brought in the Trailblazer, thinking I was gonna get like some trial set or something like just already pre-built. And unfortunately, that was not the case. It had the Dendro stuff on it, which I was like, you know what, like whatever. Like I don't think I ended up using her like at all, or maybe I used her like once or twice, or once somewhere in here. I don't know. But as always, I skipped through the boring, easy fights, and then I just play like the harder, difficult fights that like that serve as the checkpoints. And there was a couple times some of these fights were kind of tricky. I was like, oh well, like my team building isn't the solid the best, but we made it work, So here's the first one, and I made sure to save like the Knave, like kind of like for the later stages. Oh, actually, this first time, I messed it up because I didn't bring like a good enough team, because Haiju kind of threw it off. So I was like, you know what, like, let's just bring in. I think who would I go with? The Knave, yeah, okay. Knave, and then I just threw in detective dude. I forget his name, Haijo. I just threw him in just so he can be there, take up that extra slot, and I don't use up someone like useful. But yeah, I mean, this one wasn't this part specifically wasn't too hard, especially when you have Arlecchino, Yalan, and Mona. I guess can do something. Not a lot though, but solid team. Vape team can never go wrong. And honestly, I should have saved my Yalan for one of the later stages, probably like the last fight. And this is a habit I need to like start getting into. Is like saving two really good supports for like the later stuff. Because the later stuff took me, or like the last like boss fight took me like maybe two or three different team like comps to kind of get right. And I'll like whenever I get there, like I'll explain it more. But again, here just going through all this nonsense stuff. And then what I like to do on these is I like to save the reaction buffs till the very end, so I know like which units I'm still going to have for like the last fight, right? So here I just go through getting like characters, and like I get the little buffs with like the random buffs or whatever. I reroll, like try and get like my idea for these is like get as many characters as possible so I can have like the widest roster, and I'm not like limiting myself to like 3 DPS and like one support on the same team. So it's always my tactic is go for as many characters as possible. I'm never really worried about running out of the flowers. That's like never been like an issue. And then for combat, like picking enemies, I kind of go based off of like the characters I have, right? Like so, let's say like for this one I had Venti, right? I would like maybe pick Venti for one with like a lot of enemies, and then just group them all together, right? So like make it easy, like pretty basic stuff. But sometimes like I don't have that luxury, and sometimes I'm like, oh well, like I don't have so and so character that would be like really good for this, or I don't have this person, right? And that kind of like throws me off a little bit, sometimes. But that's why I think like I feel like I should put more planning into like this, you know what I mean? Like so when I pick the characters at the very start, right? Let's say I can only pick 10 characters, right? As an example. I'll make sure to like do 3 DPS and 6 supports, right? Make sure that ratio is like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, something like that, right? Just to make up a ratio like in my head. Right? So just so I always make sure like because I could probably more than likely not beat it with like a team of supports than like the team of DPS, right? And so this one with Corinne, it only took me one try, and this guy because like I remember I forgot. I saw like a tweet, right? I know I'm getting off sidetracked here, but I saw a tweet that said that like this bird was in like the abyss, and people were like complaining, "Oh, the bird, it's like so hard to knock down." And then someone like made like a reply to that, and they're like, "Oh, if you just use Farina, like she kind of just brings them down on her own." And yeah, so that's why like I made sure to say Farina for this specific stage because I knew this guy was gonna be in here, and I made sure to save my Chlorine for a boss that I knew was gonna be difficult. So I was like, you know what, like I'll save Chlorine for like this one, right? And then I'll keep her again for a different one, right? And yeah, essentially, right, like always try and keep like I always try to like really focus on my supports staying here like as much as possible. Like there's times where like for example, right, like I picked that 1-to-2 ratio, for example, right? And my supports are like on one lightning bolt HP thing left, right? And the boss isn't maybe too difficult, or maybe I know I can beat it, I'll like deliberately bring like 2 DPS so one of them can go away and then I can just have like the other DPS, right? So like let's say I bring in like Scaramouche and Chaska and then 2 supports instead of bringing 3 supports and getting losing a support and a DPS, right? So that's my like mentality going into this, like sacrifice the DPS but keep the supports like alive at all costs. And yeah, I mean, it like usually works out for me. Like, I don't always get the little bonuses right for like beating a certain amount in a time limit or beating, whatever. But I'm pretty sure those stars don't really do anything. It's just kind of like a golden star. Like, oh here, like you did it, good job, right? But I mean, like I'd rather just get the primos and just get it over with. I wish there was like some type of mechanic those stars did. Maybe like maybe after like a boss fight, if you have like 3 stars, you can purchase a buff, or maybe you can purchase like an item to res one of your characters, or maybe you can like recruit like a specific character like that was like downed, or maybe a character that's not even on like the list, something, right? I wish like those stars like did something, but right now it just seems kind of just more like for showing off, right? And then this thing was in the abyss, I think the last abyss. And I remember I had also seen people like on Twitter being like, "Oh, this thing sucks. Like you need Malvika, you need this and that. You like Natlan units." But when I did it in the Abyss, I did it with Chlorine, and Chlorine like deleted him like how she just did just now, right? So I like made sure to save Chlorine for this specific part because I was like, okay, like I know Chlorine. Chlorine has been tested and proven to work against this guy, so I'll make sure to have her for this part, and then I'll just bring like Yunjin for like the attack speed, and then Jean to heal, right? Like I was like, okay, this team will work, and then Jean has what is it called? VV set, and like it'll be a good team. Not the best team, but I'll like slap it together, and then Clorinda and Yelan will just carry us to victory. That's essentially what happened. And I can never complain about having Clorin and Yelan on the same team because they just delete everything. Anyways. So, okay, another side note here. Side note. Um, that's like essentially like how theater. I run the theater, right? Like I just beat it. Sometimes I have difficulties, like the two Imaginarium theaters ago. I'm sorry, my words got mixed up there. Like that one was a little difficult. Like it took me a couple tries, or maybe sometimes I just don't have enough units, right? And I just have to play it on hard mode. And usually hard mode's not too much of like of trouble, but anyways, that's just that on the Imaginarium theater. The reason why this video is coming out on Friday instead of like the per usual Thursday that like I always do is because I was like stumped, right? I was stumped. I was like, okay, like I make Zenless, like Shiyu Defense. I make Honkai Star Rail, MOC, and the other mode, which is called Brain Work. Brain Work. It is called Apocalyptic Shadow, right? I'm like, okay, like I make content on this, and the occasional like guide here and there, and which I didn't make one for Tribi, like because I thought that the adult Tribi was like better like designed, and I'm just not a fan of like those type of characters. So I just took a backseat and I was like, you know what, like I'm not gonna do Tribi. Like I'm just gonna wait till my day, right? And it like serves as a good break because usually those take like a couple days to make. They're really like hard and like take forever to make. So I was like, you know what, like we'll just skip Tribi and then we'll do me days. And I haven't really done any for Genshin or Zenless, and that's because Zenless's their kits are long. Like they're long. The last one I did was Miyabi, and Astro Yao has come out, Evelyn has come out, and Haramusa's come out. I guess free. They've been out like since Miyabi, and like it's hard to find motivation to make Zenless ones. And then the Genshin ones, all the Natling characters have like super like extended kits because of the what is that thing called? That like uh the region special thingy they have. I can't even think of its name. But right, like their kits are super long. I think I did Chaska's and Aurorons, and those ones weren't too difficult. But it also sucks too because like I can't afford all the units, so sometimes I can't just like have the like gameplay recorded or like know exactly like fully what I'm talking about, like in-depth guide of their kits, because like I just don't own them. I just kind of have to go off like the trial, what I read, what I see. So sometimes I'm like, oh man, like I wish I had this character so I can show off more, right? So that's why like when I did Sundays and I did Fugues, I was like, okay, like I have both these characters. I know like I use them in combat, and like it just makes sense on how to use them. Like I understand. And yeah, it's essentially like, okay, so right. I'm like making that type of content, and I'm like, okay, well, like I want to make something like different, or like maybe try something new. And the only like newer thing I've done was like my Genshin like tier list of my favorite characters, and that was fun. I feel like I should do one for Zenless and one for Honkai. Uh, but I do still like I still am like thinking like of a better way to present it, not just like the the truth like tier list way he does it. Like that's where I took my inspiration off. Maybe I could present like a PowerPoint slide or something. Again, it's still like in the works, right? But aside from that, like it's kind of difficult to find just like content on like these games that isn't just like streaming or like stream highlights. And that kind of got me thinking that maybe like I should start like streaming. But like I'm not sure if my internet is good enough for that. If I'm being honest, I tested it like once a long time ago, and it was okay. Like it wasn't awful. But I think my friend said like the quality was dropping sometimes. But I wonder if that's because maybe I had like too many things running or the game itself. So I'd have to do a test run again. But I might start streaming and like switch the schedule around, right? So maybe upload Mondays and Fridays and then stream on Wednesdays. I think that would be like the best. And then maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays upload like TikToks, shorts, engage in the community, and then Friday or Saturdays and Sundays just kind of take like a weekend off, so I can get back into it on Monday, and I guess brainstorm ideas on that day. So that's I'm liking the sound of that. Like I'm just thinking like here out loud basically. But I like the sound of that right now, so I might implement that here like I guess this week because this video is coming out Friday, and we'll see how that goes. Like I'll test out the streaming stuff, and I'll like I'll make like a announcement on it on like my Monday video to see if I do it, because usually on Wednesdays are like I've been having Wednesdays off from like my real job, like job scary. Oh, sorry guys, I said job. Um, so I would have the free time on that day to stream and stuff, and then maybe even like my Friday video can be like things that happen on stream, or like things that I talk to with about like my friends on stream. Just kind of like combine the two. But we'll see. But I'll update on Monday. A big update on Monday. But yeah, so after like a couple teams and tries on this guy, I eventually went with the scare team, and the scare team put in the work, and the scare team won. I did have a bunch of pyro and animal, like the reaction buff, so that's why the team is just made of pyro and animal. And then this part takes so long. Like I put this like credits in on like times 5, and it felt like it was still super slow. So that might just be like a Genshin thing itself. They might just have to update the speed a little bit. Even if they put it in times 2, I think it'd be fine because the normal speed is kind of slow. I just came to realize. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I beat it. It was kind of whatever. Usually just have fun with these. If only X still recorded, we could like record these together, and we can be like Genshin buddies, and we can do more races and stuff. So it kind of sucks that like in the race I'm 0-2, and probably gonna forever be 0-2. But I'll take here a seat with Miss Faruzan, Miss Hatsune Miku of Genshin Impact, and her name is covering her face. But thanks everyone for watching. Just a quick update and like kind of what's been happening. But thanks again everyone for watching. Trolls don't get blocked.